predicting the next Bitcoin and XRP price resistance levels. Today we're going to begin with Bitcoin as the chart populates here. I have many measuring features on here, and we're going to talk about a few of them. But first we're going to talk about our next trend and the price resistance levels that we have chosen using the square. Let's go ahead now and talk about these. These are all parallel, they're all equal channels. They're about 20%. These two channels represent 20 to 24%. This one was 14%, or just coming in under 15%. So with that in mind, we can say that our next levels will be, again, somewhere around excuse me, around the 14-15% mark, which would be the mid 46K level. A 20% level would bring us up to about 48,000, and then coming up to the top of our channel here, and where I expect a move to take place up to 54,000, which is a 180-degree move from 41. We spoke about these things in some previous tutorials, predicting the future. And from this point, I'm expecting that somewhere around this period, this late May, we will be revisiting a top. And why do I think that is possible? Well, the sun will be conjunct the planet of technology, Uranus, and it's very likely impossible we see something. So from this top, let's just measure out and see what it would give us on the square. If you don't have our instrument, you can use this really handy counting tool. So let's move out to the beginning of April here, and our death zone starts at 7, 21, 43, 73, and this is just how the square works. If you have our square, you'll notice that 7 to 10 days is a death zone, 21 to 28 days. So here, a 3-week move is very typical in Gann's work, and he states that after 3 weeks we could see tumultuous moves, either up or down. So this is our 21 day that lines up here. Let's go now take a look at our low and measure from our low where we are going to be coming out here. So from our low at 59,000, if we moved out 59 and 60 days from that low, it squares out with April 7th. Again, a very strong resistance level. All right, so with that, we have our timing for our vibration. Now let's go take a look at our channel, because in these moves here, well, most of them have been roughly 35%, 38%. So taking this measurement tool here and looking up at our tops here, again, our 35, 36% drop. So we could now just therefore take our measuring tool and look at a 35% drop, and that would bring us down to 48,000, which would be our next price resistance level based upon the past performance. Not too difficult to do when we just use mathematical functions. It helps us to overcome our emotions that we're in a bull market and things are heading back up. And I've had a tumultuous amount of comments stating that the bottom was in and we're heading back up to 100,000, 125,000 right away. And as hard as it is to not say someone is wrong, but the work that we're doing here doesn't agree with that theory. And we still have several months to go before our low, and I want to talk about that as well just really quickly here. Now that we have provided the price resistance level where we think Bitcoin will be most comfortable and where it may be, I've just populated the same angle of channel lines from the very top here and just repopulated them down here. So we have an idea now. The rest of the year. Typically, Bitcoin, its bear market cycles run 12, 13, and 14 months, and the average being 13 and a half months before a bottom. Now, I've taken our measuring tool, our Fibonacci, and I've ran it starting with our top, our all-time high, and terminating it at our all-time extreme low of 15,500. So we therefore have the resistance levels, and as you can see, this Fibonacci tool has very much gathered the energy at each one of these bars and did not allow it to get up into the next one. Looking again, we dropped 2 Fibonacci bars here. Well, actually we could say almost 3, but we moved 2 very decisively. And then there again, we came up to our 50% Fibonacci level, failing to get above this area, and our current downtrend indicated weakness here. And we are about to see some more weakness. We could possibly move up and have another fake out. Anything is possible here, but the likelihood is that the market needs to reset, and it looks very much like we're going to retest this 59.60 really soon here, and then get above or get below that and start making move down into these time frames here that square out with our top and our low here. So we're expecting some tumultuous moves into the end of the year again. Let's get back to this again. Our thesis is, from studying the current Bitcoin cycles, and as you guys know, I study history going back quite far, and the last 3 cycles have been 12, 13, and 14 months. So in between this period here, this angle, which cuts through 3 data points from our all-time high, terminates at 15,000 in late September, when I think the market will finally have reached a low. Will be at 15,000? I don't really think that we'll be at 15,000. We could eventually go down to there, but I'm not stating we will. Somewhere in this next period here, we would be seeing something. So if we made a top up here, we could expect our next move down. We were saying the 35%. So this mid-30s, and I've been talking about this loosely a few tutorials back, or quite a few tutorials back, about this area. So this would be another prognosis for a low area, and we could certainly reach down into this level, into this July, but most likely September and October, when the cycle ends, we would probably see something within that cycle area. And breaking of this angle would be a great relief that the ending is coming for our bear market. Now let's just go ahead and take a look at, because we're talking about these angles, because these are price resistance angular levels that capture price. So we have 3 data points here, as you can see. We've taken it at the bottom of the channel before we had our fake out top here. So from this level here, I'm expecting some extreme market movements into late June, and we always have typically pullbacks in June. For instance, let's just go ahead and let's take a look back and see what happened. Last June we had a low here in the mid part of June, the early part here, and the mid to end, about the third week, we had another major pullback. We are currently underneath our 1 year low at 73, and this is an indication of market weakness. Let's move back again to the next June so that we can take a look and see what happened back there. Back in June, market topped in the mid part and early part of June and had a major pullback in the third week of the month. So we can still look for lows happening into August, and I said September, and we had a big change in trend in September of 2024. We had another major change in trend in September. Right here, we started to make our tops. All right, so we've moved through a bit of the chart going backwards because the past is but a repetition of the future, and if you don't study history, then you're doomed to repeat it. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at XRP now and see what we can see for a chart feature there. I've populated a few things. Let's go ahead and discuss it. Let's bring up XRP here. It should be in here somewhere. There we are, XRP. XRP is populating right now. This chart is also, it's closely moving with Bitcoin. However, XRP is having some very violent and wild swings. And in a second here, we'll be able to take a look at what's been happening with this market. Now I've taken this chart, we're going to just discuss this. So I'm going to take the long view and then we'll go and zero in on our micro view in a moment. So I get a lot of people asking me what's going on, how come this, how come that, when are we going to make top, when are we going to make bottom. So I get this a lot. This is our March bottom, 2020. I've taken an angle and populated along the many data points here. So this gives us a structure for a fall away or a very big wipeout bottom. Let's move it ahead a bit so that we can have a look at XRP. I warned you guys about a big move up in November 2024. Well, actually in October and this whole summer period, I warned you that XRP would hit $1.80 in November, and it wasn't until the last day of November it made that. I also further stated back here in the summertime that in January 7th we would be at 360. It actually made top on the 13th or 15th, so it was like 7 days later. So it was a direct hit. Let's not high five quite yet. Right now, XRP has gone through a volatile cycle. You can see with these large wicks here that we've maintained a very low area of volatility, a big pullback into the 125 area. Let's go ahead and let's just take a look at what's going on here. So I populated a downtrend here, and I like to do it with as many data points as possible because it carries the market sentiment when the news and headlines are wrong, and you keep being told that, you know, this was going to carry on and it was going to go to the moon and everybody was going to be a millionaire right away. So looking at our trends, so we've populated again as many data points as possible here on our extremes, and it showed that right around $3 XRP started to really run out of its steam. It was really comfortable being around this $3 point. We have a lot of data points here. And then we had a tumultuous drop back to this angle here, down to $1.25. And right now, I was hearing so many times that, oh, the market's changed, it's turning around, and we've made a bottom. Well, it's true, we did make a swing bottom. However, this angle right here is very, very important, and breaking this and staying underneath this is detrimental. This is the same angle for all of these markets here. All of these moves, once we get below it and can't stay above it, it signals weakness, and we had a bit of major weakness. We had a major retest here. And when we put this on here, you can see again, once we get past this point, it's straight down, you know. Same here, where we just take this, and this is our angle here, where we can see the market cannot get above this, and it shows a lot of weakness here. So we're using this as our measuring tool. You can see once it gets back up to that and can't stay above it, it's all over. All right, so here we are today. This is our vibration. Our price resistance level was signaled back here in mid-October, the 9th and 10th. And we've been curled up right here. It looks like our next position moving down. Oh, looks like the chart was just updating. Let's hopefully it populates soon here. So from here now, we're going to take a look at our next levels moving down. Let's go ahead and do that. So noting the very steep moves down, let's just take a look at our averages for prices moving down. Well, right now we have 25% and 49. Let's just see now from this area here what we may be. So 38% down into this level here. So let's go ahead and let's just take a look at this level here. And let's see if we can find something that's close to that. This one was a full 50% move down, a very steep decline. So 38 and 50%. Well, that's not it's not the nicest, but we have to take a look at this because being objective, we need to be ready for the movements. So again, a heavy 39, 38, 35% brings us down to the $1 level. A full 50% brings us right down to an area and target where I think XRP is going to be very comfortable, somewhere in the high 70s, or the mid 70s at least, and this would square out quite nicely. Uranus is actually at 76 cents of the circle. This would imply that our next levels very well may just lie down in this area. So let's just take our line here and bring this down now and say, all right, well, we think it can get down to this next price resistance level based on its previous history and price movement. We're in between these two price angles here, or the vibration of the market, and it is most likely and comfortable in this area. Our next move down is 35 to 50%, and this represents this angle moving up here. Our next topping area will be sometime in late May when we will be retesting this $1 level. It could be a little higher. We could be retesting this $1.25 level, where we come up and headbutt this. And we do have that angle moving down through here. So somewhere in this May period, we could see prices leap up to this this 90 to $1 level and retest a bunch of these areas. And we have a Fibonacci sequence area right here. And this angle crosses the Fibonacci just around the 10th of May. So with this in mind, we can at least have a look at predicting the future and being ready for anything that is in front of us. We've been talking about these markets being weak and that Bitcoin and XRP in the market would have to start making a solid decision around this late March. I think I was saying the 21st anyways. So it's looking an awful lot like there's some weakness beginning, and we're running out this end of this price vibration resistance level, and we'll be looking for another spot where XRP will feel much more comfortable, and I think that's right around this 60 and 70 mark. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Hit that like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any more charts. Peace and love, brothers and sisters.